Danielle Peterson here for Infrastructure News. Today we are interviewing some of the key role players in the Kingfisher project, so over to them to introduce themselves.
My name is Alistair Wensley. I'm from the Department of Water and Sanitation, specifically Water Services Macro Planning, which looks really at municipal performance and trying to understand the problems in municipalities and how they relate, in this particular case, to catchment management agencies.
My name is Kingfisher. I work for the Dutch Water Authority Waterschap Drents Overijsselse Delta. This is one of the 22 waterschappen that are combined in Dutch water authorities. I'm a manager for international affairs, and we have a cooperation with the CMAs to be establishment in South Africa.
My name is Marcus Selepe. I'm from the Inkomati Usutu Catchment Management Agency. I am a manager for water resource protection in the area, and we manage the activities of all land-based activities to look at the impact. And for this purpose, we're looking at the municipalities and their impact on the water resources.
KP, perhaps you can give us an overview of what the Kingfisher program is and its objectives.
Yes, Daniel. The Kingfisher program is about the cooperation between 13 Dutch waterschappen and the 9 catchment management agencies in South Africa. We chose the word or the name Kingfisher because it's a bird that lives in both countries and a bird that needs clean and streaming water to be able to survive. And it's also a bird that picks its food very carefully, as we very carefully want to look at what topics we want to learn from each other. We started something like 10 years ago with the CMA, and at that time South Africa just had a brand new integrated water law, and we were in the process of bringing together our scattered water legislations into one integrated water law. So we wanted to learn from South Africa from that process, and we are organizations with a long history. In fact, my organization that I work for celebrated its 700th anniversary 3 years ago. And for us it was very interesting to see how do you do it if you start from scratch, if you start a new organization. And we think that my colleagues from the CMAs can learn a lot from us, our 700 years of experience, all the mistakes that we make, and they shouldn't make the same mistakes as we did, so they can also learn from us.
Fantastic. Marcus, tell us a bit about how this has helped the catchment management agencies and how it all comes together for you.
Well, I think as one of the areas of cooperation between ourselves and the Dutch water authorities, we looked at the cooperation between ourselves and the municipalities, and this is one area where we've been having problems with impact of wastewater treatment works on the water resources, and most of the time it was just a matter of writing letters, correspondence between ourselves and themselves, and often they did not even respond to some of our letters, and I think that this actually tried to nudge us together to try and cooperate in our activities, and we've had very fruitful workshops where we sat with them, looked at, made presentations to them on the impact of their wastewater treatment works, and obviously with the involvement of the Department of Water and Sanitation, they were also looking at areas where municipalities are actually failing in the water services business, which happens to be one area where one area of that water business cycle they actually have impact on water resources.
And Alistair, what is the role of the Department of Water and Sanitation in this whole project, and where do you see it going forward?
My colleague Eustacia Bofilatos from Institutional Oversight is actually driving the South African-Dutch collaboration from a CMA perspective. Where I come into the equation is obviously we're looking at municipal performance and how poor municipal performance is going to impact on water resource availability, source quality, etc., etc., etc. So obviously a lot of the work that we are doing is trying to understand where municipalities are vulnerable and then and to try and put plans into place to deal with those specific vulnerabilities. And we've picked up exactly the same problems when it comes to wastewater treatment. Many of the wastewater treatment works, I think 70% of the wastewater treatment works, are not functioning as intended, and it's going to impact on resource quality at the end of the day. So essentially, that's where the area of collaboration will continue. We will continue to do this work anyway, because it's part of my mandate. We have to look at municipal performance and get them back on track. I think that's basically answered the question.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Kempe, tell us about, this is a South African Dutch initiative, so what are the parallels between South Africa and the Netherlands, and how do you learn from each other?
Yes, Danielle, we in the past we had similar problems as in South Africa. We saw municipalities and waterschappen working in silos, and the water services chain and integrated water resource management is very much interconnected. And to add to this, we have a fairly complicated structure in the Netherlands in which drinking water companies owned by municipalities are responsible for delivering drinking water up to the consumers, including billing. Municipalities are responsible for taking up that wastewater in their sewage system, and they deliver it to us, and being as integrated water resource management, and we transport it through pressure pipes to our wastewater treatment plants. And you could argue that in a technical sense this is not the best, most optimal solutions. So we said we want to work together, and even we were also enforced by government by doing that. Government said, I want you all to save something like 300 million euros in the whole water services sector, and you have to reach that through working together. And now we sit together and we try to find solutions as if we were one organization, and we are going to reach this target of cutting in the costs.
That's fantastic. Could you also tell us about the next phase of the Kingfisher program and what it entails?
Yeah, in the next phase of the Kingfisher project, we want to continue with the work that we are doing with the CMAs, but we want to enlarge it with two things. First of all, cooperation with municipalities. We've done this now together with the Musa MPAP project in the area of the IUCMA, and we want to extend that to the other areas of the other CMAs as well. And the third thing is that we want to focus on international cooperation with neighboring countries. Together with the IUCMA, we initiated a project of transboundary water management, cooperation in transboundary water management, called the REMCO project. And in the next phase, we want to elaborate on that further, and we also hope that we can enlarge it to other international catchments like the Orange and the Limpopo as well.
Great. And then, Alistair, maybe you can talk to us about how the program ties into the medium strategic framework goals.
The medium-term strategic framework, which really sets out a plan of action, which started in 2014 and finishes in 2019, focuses on reliable services. Reliable water services, meaning safe water and sanitation. The definition that we use for reliable water, for example, is you can't have more than 2 weeks downtime over a year period, and you can't be without water for more than 48 hours. So essentially all the work that we are doing is to make sure that we meet that requirement at the end of the day, and either through sorting out operation and maintenance of assets, essentially running an effective municipal services. What I would also like to add in terms of the work that we're currently doing, and that's also bolstering the Kingfisher program, is Kingfisher is busy assisting with the setting up of ops rooms within the CMA. We will then provide the relevant water services information into that ops room. So obviously where there is real-time data when it comes to water quality, etc., there can be some proactive steps that are taking place by the CMA.
Okay. Marcus, perhaps you just want to tell us how having that in place will improve things for you.
Well, yes, for us, the fact that the the sewage works happen to be the most, one of the activities that pollute the most in our water management area, because of the fact that although we do have also mines, the mines do pollute, but when you write letters to them requesting them to take corrective measures, they do implement measures, and to this end we believe that they have somewhat sorted out their challenges, but this is the area which is actually giving us the most headache at the moment. And we believe that this cooperation will actually improve things between us. But maybe just to add a little bit more on what was mentioned by Kempe, I think he mentioned earlier that in their country, the management of sewage works is done by institutions like ours, a catchment management agency, which they call water authorities. This is something that perhaps we should also look at in our country, because of the fact that I don't know if it is because municipalities are overloaded, or if it's because they're not familiar with the impact of the sewage works on water resources. But we've got keen interest in trying to get the impacting activities sort out their issues, so that whatever that effluent that goes back into the resource actually is of good quality, so that it assists us in achieving our mandate of protecting water resources.
Fantastic, thanks. Sounds like a really great initiative.